I don't think dinosaurs should have, like, mammal-looking hands, you know?
Yes, his hand! Ugh.
It's just stop it. Hello and welcome to Cassette Take, where you can eject wherever you want, but please don't forget to rewind. I'm Ethan.
I'm Annmarie.
And Annmarie, what did I just go see, and what did you go see a couple days later that we haven't done a review for right away, but are doing a review now?
Jurassic World Rebirth.
Smoothly? Hell yeah. Jurassic World Rebirth. Dinosaur go roar.
Oh, yes, they do.
Yes, but before we get into anything with dinosaurs going roar or anything roar adjacent, there was a little teaser that came out before this movie, right before the movie, in fact, and we're going to talk about that first for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey.
I didn't expect to get a trailer. Did you expect to get a trailer?
I did. And if you guys are not here for the trailer, like a little quick rundown of the trailer or the teaser, in fact, it's more of a teaser, skip ahead. We'll put like timestamps in the video. So just skip ahead to the Jurassic World Rebirth review if you're not interested. But if you are, yeah, they dropped the Christopher Nolan's Odyssey teaser at the very beginning of this movie.
So 7/17/26 is when it comes out.
Yes, and we can confirm that Tom Holland is playing Odysseus's son, and it looks like Jon Bernthal's character is playing, what's his name?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I don't remember the name of the character, but it's the one, if you haven't read the Odyssey, or if you have read the Odyssey, it's the one that was involved with Odysseus and then kind of does something against Odysseus later on.
Man.
I'm like, can I really spoil something that's like been around for centuries?
So I don't remember ever reading the book in high school, but I know the story of it.
Mm-hmm.
But Ethan, I have a crazy theory. I don't think the Odyssey is going to be one movie. I think it's going to be 2 movies.
Oh, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No way.
Do you think it's going to be like over 4 hours then? They're going to Lord of the Rings extended edition it?
Because I don't think he's doing the Iliad. I mean, he's just doing the Odyssey. So it's like you could squeeze the Odyssey into one long movie.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, he was able to contain all of the downfall of humanity in Oppenheimer.
That is
so.
That'd be weird if there was a part 1, part 2 situation to that one, though.
Well, I mean, technically there is with Godzilla -1 coming out that
true.
same year. Like, hey, guess what happened after that?
But this looked great. I'm super excited for this. This cast is super stacked. It has Zendaya, Tom Holland, Matt Damon. There's so many people in it that I'm just super pumped for it. And it looks really good. Like, Christopher Nolan never has steered me wrong, except for Tenet. He's never steered me wrong, so I'm super pumped for it.
Yeah, and they don't show much. Again, it's more of a teaser than a trailer. And I would say if you're looking for, like, the epicness of it, you're probably not going to get it in this teaser. But if you're looking for, like, vibe, you're going to get vibe in here.
The vibes.
Yeah, like, it's more of silhouettes and just, like, distant landscape shots and, really a strong focus on the ocean, which, again, being a story that heavily takes place in the Mediterranean and ancient Greece, that makes sense. So, yeah, you don't get the world out of this trailer, but you get a really intense conversation with Tom Holland and Jon Bernthal's characters. Then you kind of see Odysseus in the end of the teaser, just on his little raft. And again, it's like, I'm not sure if I can or cannot say certain things, because it's like, this is one of the oldest stories in all of Western civilization. And it's like, have you not read the Odyssey?
Or do you not know? It's like Romeo and Juliet. Everyone knows the story of Romeo and Juliet.
Exactly. So
it's like,
But yeah, basically, I would recommend, because I've already seen people go out, like, to buy a Jurassic World Rebirth ticket just to see the teaser and then walk out. So,
oh gosh. Oh no.
Yeah, but I'm like, I would stay for the movie, which I did in fact do.
Yes. So are we sliding into Jurassic World Rebirth?
Yes, we are. Thank you for stating the transition.
There you go. You're welcome.
No, yeah, so now with that out of the way, guys, but first, like, let us know your takes on I was gonna say Jurassic World Rebirth teaser. I'm like, no, watch the movie. No, the teaser for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Are you excited for us? Does this make you, like, less excited? Were you hoping for something more epic and grandiose? I mean, I don't know, guys. Whatever you're thinking, let us know your takes on our tapes in those comments down below. And Annmarie, with that, What are we fast forwarding on to next?
Oh, yes, that transition. We just got out of seeing Jurassic World Rebirth, and Ethan, as a fan of Jurassic Park, is one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I think it's a perfect movie, and I've been very disappointed by the other Jurassic Park and Jurassic World films. I've liked some of them I don't like as much. This one, pretty solid, I would have to say.
Yeah, it's definitely better than what we've gotten in recent years. Significantly a step up from Dominion.
Oh my god,
I would say. Gosh, let's focus on bugs for most of the time.
Set of dinosaurs.
No, here we have Gareth Edwards at the helm, and if you don't know what he's done most of Rogue One. We're not going to get into that can of worms. And then we have
The creator,
and we have Godzilla, the 2014?
2014, yeah.
2014.
My favorite Godzilla.
You keep that to yourself. Awesome. Kidding. But no, yeah, the 2014 Godzilla. And he is so good. No matter what you think of his movies, he is so good at doing scale.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, so when we heard he was doing a Jurassic Park movie, well, Jurassic World, I don't know, what do you define the movie franchise as? Is it Park or World?
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaur Go Roar franchise. When we were informed that he was doing this movie, we're like, oh, hell yeah. And then we heard ScarJo was involved and Mahershala Ali. And then
Steven Spielberg helped write it, I'm pretty sure.
Like, was probably like a consultant.
Yeah.
Michael Crichton. It was David Cope. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Came back. He was the one that wrote the original screenplay based on Michael Crichton's novel. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this movie had a lot going for it. So going into it, the only concern I had was us focusing more on the mutation aspect of the dinosaurs. And it's like, it's not even really dinosaurs anymore. It's just mutated animals that, are semi-dinosaurs. And, that's not the worst thing in the world, but it's like, it takes away a bit from the magic and wonder of it all and how it feels like, oh, I could go out and touch them. And like this, because these dinosaurs like actually existed at one point. So, I don't know, it does take away from that. However, I will say that this movie does indeed deliver on some dinosaur-adjacent wonder. It does so much better at bringing that to the table than the previous entries into the series, where it focused more on the horror aspects and, like, the action and all that. I mean, it just really brought me back to what made Jurassic Park good, like the original, where it brought back that sense of wonder and like, wow, look at, like, taking the time to look at these dinosaurs and they are animals. Like, there's a scene, this isn't spoiler, they have it in a trailer. Mm-hmm. There's a scene where the T-Rex is sleeping, like, and we don't really, we always see the T-Rex awake and he's like, running around and like just simply a giant monster. But it was more like the bit in the original Jurassic Park where the T-Rex doesn't just go after people right away, but like is curious, like, oh, is this prey? Is this something to play with? And we got a lot more of that here with the dinosaurs. Even though a lot of them are mutated and all that, they're dinosaur adjacent enough to where I could get more on board with it. We'll get more into the one I wasn't on board with later. Yeah. But overall, I think it did a really good job of bringing that sense of scale and realistic integrity to this dinosaur world and, that sense of wonder.
Well, and it's also, like you said, it's beautiful. Like, Gareth Edwards' films are always so pretty. And there's a scene where the score comes and they see dinosaurs and it's just like this amazing thing. And I just felt it too. I'm like, oh my God, we're back in Jurassic Park. No way. I feel like where this did better, Jurassic World, and not to just poo-poo on Jurassic World, but they took the franchise in such a weird directions with clones and bugs. It didn't really make sense. It kind of stepped away from the park, so I kind of liked going back to an island and seeing all these dinosaurs. And it's a really simple story. They need blood from 3 dinosaurs, air, sea, and land dinosaur, and that's it. It's like a kind of like, I described it a little bit like Mission Impossible. They need to go in, get the stuff, and leave, basically. It's not like, I feel like Jurassic World was like cloning, and this is like, no, it's just simple heist movie. We just need to go get this stuff.
Yeah, and it does have like a similar kind. Honestly, I think there's a lot of similarities to the original Jurassic Park plot, even down to certain characters that do almost the same thing, like in certain moments in the first one, where it almost felt like a Force Awakens kind of thing going on, where it's like, oh, this is just A New Hope again, and it's but like different enough to where it's like, yeah, I still had a really good time.
Yeah.
Now, I will say something that this movie doesn't do, that the first movie does with, Jurassic Park, is the first act, and arguably even into the beginning of the second act, it drags so much.
Yeah, I would say the pacing is so weird. The biggest thing I noticed was the writing too. It just felt off in a way, and I don't think it's the actors, because I know Scarlett Johansson, she had always said, I wanted to do a Jurassic Park movie for so long, so I'm so happy she got to do it. But yeah, the pacing is really weird at the beginning, especially once they get to the island. It's just weird.
Yeah, and the thing that really bothered me was the redundancy of a lot of it.
Yes.
Because so at the very beginning, they have their little intro where it's, something that happens 30, 15 years in the past. And it's like, oh, the guy kind of lead up to that whole aspect of mutations and testing and all that with the D-Rex, as you will. That's shown in the trailers. But and then they kind of jump from that to this little paragraph kind of stating the state of things with where the world's at, and like how the equator is where most of the dinosaurs that are remaining have moved on to, and how there's still some like in other continents and aspects of the world, but those are dying out and they're all just kind of going back to the equator where most of them can survive. And they explain that in the paragraph. And then the very scene afterwards, they're re-explaining everything through dialogue as if we didn't get that paragraph before. And it's taking a solid like 15, 20 minutes to do all this. And I'm like, we don't need this. So, and I know we didn't get dinosaurs like really right away in the first Jurassic Park movie, but it was spaced out well enough to by the time they showed up, I felt like, no, that makes sense. You want to set up and give a sense of scale, and like that this place is isolated from the rest of the world, and develop your characters. Yeah, absolutely. And it was just like evenly spaced out with the other acts of the film. Here, it felt like Act 1 was bleeding into Act 2, and we didn't really get anything until maybe 40, 50 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
So I was very let down by that aspect, but once it started to pick up after all that, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on board.
Again, like it was weird, like weird pacing and weird writing. Like I didn't get some of the lines. What actually really bothered me was Jonathan Bailey's character is super interesting. He has a line in here that kind of questions if killing these animals is wrong, like if it's a sin. And I really like that. And I really wish they had gotten into that more, because and I know some people are like, I don't want agendas in my movie. I don't care. Like, I thought it was interesting enough where I'm like, what happens when you take a person who loves animals and puts them in Jurassic Park? Like, there's a scene of him that he sees a dinosaur for the first time and tears up. And I'm like, that's really interesting. Why didn't we dive into that? I just feel like a lot of the characters weren't fleshed out fully.
I would have to agree with that. And I think it's just, there's a family that's introduced into the movie midway through. And they're introduced like way late into the game. So by the time we think that everyone else is introduced into the movie and we can move on and have our dinosaur fun, it's like, oh, now we're introducing this family. And it's like, oh, why are you here? Like, are you just here to give the villain some reason to look bad? Or like, I don't know why you're here. It just, other than maybe to provide like, oh, because kids won't watch a movie if there's no kid in it. Like, I don't know.
Every Jurassic Park movie has to have a kid in it.
Yeah, not to say that the family throughout the movie is worthless. They do have their moments where it's just like, okay, yeah, like that was a really good scene. The scene that really stuck out to me with that family that made me believe that it was warranted, their existence was warranted in this movie, was where the one kid was relieving himself and all that stuff was going on in the background. So
I love that scene. I cracked up. This movie had the perfect humor and like seriousness, and that was one of the scenes that did it for me.
Yeah, and between ScarJo and Mahershala Ali and what's his name?
Jonathan Bailey.
Yeah, Jonathan Bailey. All of them are so charismatic and awesome, and their chemistry is really great throughout this movie. I just wish that pacing was like built up, like was much better to where I wasn't bored by some of this like dialogue they provided those characters.
Mm-hmm.
And it just made when the family comes on board and we got to reintroduce them, it's just kind of like, oh, brother, rather than being excited to see new characters, I was like, great, now we have more characters to introduce. And we're already like, the first act should be over at this point.
Yeah, it felt like it dragged on a little bit too much.
Yeah. Now, I will say the benefit to having a longer first act, like, I'm not mad that they had a longer first act. I think generally for a movie like this, where you want to provide that sense of scale of isolation of how far removed this island is and how there's less likely someone to be out there to save them. I think that is really cool and a great, plays into what Gareth Edwards does with scale.
Mhm.
Now, I think that if that was the case, he might have gotten carried away with that, with spending too much time in that regard. Again, because it dragged on way too long. So, I mean, it's like playing. He got too carried away there. That's all I could say. I was coming up with some sort of metaphor I couldn't.
You
fit
couldn't
with
do
this.
it.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a little dino talk. Well, I am so glad they included so many types of dinosaurs because I was looking it up. Jurassic Park only has 15 types of dinosaurs. I think this one has maybe a little bit more, I think 20. But oh my God, I love seeing them all. But there's only one that I hated, and I'm pretty sure we have the same one we both hated.
Yes, throughout the movie, we get our little mutant dinosaurs, and most of them look very much like dinosaur adjacent and, dinosaur-like. And, that's fine. If you're going to go that way, the mutant dinosaurs, fine. I would prefer if you just did regular dinosaurs because regular dinosaurs are already cool. But whatever, we're already going down this route.
Mhm.
Now, at the beginning of the movie, they introduced this idea of a D-Rex because T-Rex isn't cool enough, apparently. Which, if you don't know, they're not. They introduce this guy and then bring him into the fray later on as like the final boss.
Mhm.
And it looked more like a Rancor from Star Wars meets like a Xenomorph meets like an anglerfish meets like that bunny spirit animal from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
It just doesn't look like a dinosaur.
It does not. It just is not right in so many ways. I know, like, there's probably people out there saying, oh, yeah, it's supposed to be because freak of nature. And, like, you understand the complexities of wanting to make, like, the mutants. And it's supposed to be, like, so many different things in one. I'm like, then don't put that in a dinosaur movie. Make it its own thing.
It felt so weirdly added at the end because they really didn't dive into the mutation, which I was kind of happy about because, again, this is a simple story. You don't need to really mix it up too much.
Mm-hmm.
But it just looked so odd. I was like, what? What? This isn't a dinosaur.
You know what would have been interesting if they made it like, yeah, go down the route of mutations, right?
Mhm.
What if it was like a dinosaur mutation where it was like a brontosaurus, like long neck with like a T-Rex head?
That
And
would
just,
be interesting.
yeah, like it's something that you can't even really imagine would exist because the practicality is out the window. But there was no sense of practicality with this creation, so why not just do that? Like I don't think dinosaurs should have like mammal-looking hands.
Oh, yes, his hands. Ugh.
It's just stop it. They're not Rancors.
Dinosaurs are cool enough.
Yes. Rancors belong in Star Wars. Dinosaurs belong in the real world.
Get it right.
Gosh darn it.
Where would you rank this in your favorite Jurassic Park, Jurassic World films? Is it more on the upper end or the lower end?
I would say, yeah, I would put in the upper.
Top 4? Because that's where I'm thinking.
Well, yeah, I would put it. I might need to watch the original Jurassic World again, but I would probably put it as number 3.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I really haven't liked the other Jurassic Park and World movies, so I would put it as like, you know, for now, probably just behind the original Jurassic World.
Let's get this straight, guys. Jurassic Park is number 1 for us.
Was that even a question?
I know some people like the second Jurassic Park, but listen.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not a big fan of the second Jurassic Park.
I've grown to love it.
Oh no, maybe I'll rewatch them and then be like, wow, dinosaurs go roar and they're all beautiful. I don't know, but like until that day comes.
Oh, Bloom. He's nice.
He's my favorite dinosaur. Roar.
I do have one last question.
Yeah.
Where does Jurassic World go next?
Back to the island and maybe realize that the original dinosaurs that weren't mutated were better and they killed off the other ones and survived them.
That was so decked. I thought you were gonna give me like so.
I don't know, maybe like listen, there's been so many different islands with like the Jurassic Park lore and all.
There's 5 islands in the
Is there?
Yes.
Okay, well like I'm like losing track of all these islands here.
Too many islands.
I need to read the book. That's something I gotta do.
But I'm wondering where you go because a part of me does like this cast. I love ScarJo. I love Mahershala Ali. I love Jonathan Bailey. I think they all did an amazing job. I would love to see them come back, but in a way, you really can't bring them back. That's something that I feel like every Jurassic Park and Jurassic World sequel struggles with because who in their damn mind wants to go back to that park?
Well, here's the thing. What if they went to, and correct me if I'm wrong on this with like lore and all that, but what if Bailey went back to the island where there were regular dinosaurs?
He could.
And, he's like, well, no, I'm not going there to like hunt down anything. I'm just going there to study. And there's nothing I really need to go on a heist for. Like, I just want to go there to study. And he goes there and then maybe something goes awry where someone else has their own thing going on, or, maybe there's some sort of ecosystem that's developed with the dinosaurs being in the modern climate that kind of has changed things to make them more unpredictable than what he formerly had studied. So I don't know, could be like a survival horror thing with one person trying to survive, and that might be interesting.
Pitch it. Honestly, that sounds great to me. That was really good.
Yeah, I don't know. Universal, you listening?
I really don't want them. I liked how this was its own thing. They made 2 references back to Jurassic Park, but here Jurassic World Rebirth felt like its own thing. So I don't want them to go back and be like Dr. Henry Wu and he's on the island. I like the idea of keeping it separate in a way.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. And that makes sense. I don't know. It's just there's so many. It used to be so simple where like dinos on island, go to island, fight dinos, dino bad, man can't control nature. And then you Jeff Goldblum the heck out of there. And then you go back and it's like, no, but we go on a different island this time. And it's just like, how many islands have we explored so far with like dinosaurs or dinosaur adjacent creatures? Like, it's just gotten so needlessly complex for such a simple concept. And it's, guys, these movies are critic proof for the most part. They make money because people want to see dinosaurs. So why not just make the focus on the beauty of dinosaurs? Get Jonathan Bailey's character back and have him go in there, with ScarJo to focus on the beauty of it. Like, he needs protection. Okay, ScarJo's there, and just in case. Or maybe it's like a, Nathan Drake and Elena situation where he goes and wants to study and she's like, no, you're not going. It's like he lies to her, and then he goes later, and that becomes a survival horror, but also like rom-com situation where they're doing a little back and forth in there.
I like that. That's a good idea.
So I don't know, Universal, if you're listening, I'll take my check now, please.
There you go. Write it.
No, but I gotta say, overall, with where we're at now, with just this movie alone, I really enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm more than happy to welcome it to the Jurassic Park / World family. And other than that first and the second act and the D-Rex, screw the D-Rex, that's so stupid.
Dumb.
I would say I really enjoyed this movie, like, quite a bit. Annmarie, final thoughts before we give our rating?
I would agree. I think this is a pretty solid movie. I don't think you should leave right after the Odyssey trailer. Give it a shot at least. I do hope it makes money, so we'll have to see about that. So.
Oh, it's gonna make money.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like big bucks.
It's better than Dominion.
Now,
and that's a low bar.
Here's the thing. I'm not sure if it's gonna make more money than Dominion, simply not because of the quality, but just because of when it's coming out. We got Superman, this coming week. We got Fantastic Four right around the corner. I mean, it's got some serious competition, not just like mild competition, serious competition going on. So I don't know what the box office numbers are going to look like by the end of it, but I do know it will make its money back. That's for sure. It's just a matter of, will it make more than, the previous entries? Again, just because of this modern or this month's context that we're in right now. So, but with that, I think it's about time we give it a rating.
Yay!
So, Annmarie, out of 10 little baby Triceratops animatronics.
Oh, not the real thing. I would give it... Oh, sorry, I cut you off. I would give it a solid 8. I don't think it's perfect, and I think the pacing does it wrong, but when I was just watching it, I did enjoy this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. I love dinosaurs. I love Jurassic Park, and to have new characters introduced and me like them overall, I think was perfect. And so, again, dinosaurs are cool, and you really can't do anything wrong with them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say definitely, I agree with you completely on that. I would give it a 7 though, because I think you have a whole third or maybe even 2/3 of a movie here that I'd say 3/5 of a movie that like really drags on quite a bit. And, that really is such a waste of time that I subtract, even more from the score counter here. But, with all the enjoyment it did provide, I would have to say, I liked it more often than I didn't like it. So I would give it a 7 out of 10. And also, you did bring up earlier, I wanted to bring up something about this, but you did bring up the score and all that. Regarding the musical score, overall great, very John Williams-esque compared to a lot of the other ones we've had in the past, which I really like. But I did notice that sometimes they brought up the Jurassic Park theme in certain moments that just were like, oh, is that supposed to be cued right now? Like, is that we're playing this right now in a moment where there's only humans talking to each other, not about anything dinosaur related? Like, it was so weird that they would do that. But overall, though, if you were to take the score by itself, it's wonderful and very nostalgic, but also does its own thing, which exactly is something that, more movies like this should do. But yeah, overall, I really did enjoy it. 7 little baby practical Triceratops out of 10. But guys, Jurassic World Rebirth. We came into that movie and were pleasantly surprised on the way out. But we want to hear if that was the case for you. Did you hate it? Were you excited for all these more additional advertisements and commercials you received on your journey to AMC? It was on an AMC. Gosh, we love our July 1st AMCs now. Everything after July 2025, oh man, it's commercial hell. So, but no, and also, the Christopher Nolan's Odyssey trailer, did you like that? whatever you're thinking, dinosaur related, dinosaur adjacent related, D-Rex related, if you're into that kind of thing, you weirdo, let us know your takes on our tapes in those comments down below. And with that, Annmarie, I think that about does it.
Let's wrap it.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Cassette Take. We hope you haven't ejected thus far into the podcast, but whether you have or haven't, please don't forget to rewind. I've been Ethan.
I'm Annmarie.
And Dinosaur Does Go Roar.